Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to explain one of the very important aspects in structural engineering, which is how loads are transferred in a building. And to make it simple, we are going to use this diagram right here on the board. You clearly understand how loads are transferred from the top of the building to the foundation of the building. But before we dive in, please hit the subscribe button to support our channel. Thank you. Let's look at the diagram in detail. As you can see, we have the roof, which is a pitch roof. We have vertical supports, we have a slab, we have a beam, and we have two floors. Today is going to help us to take our load transfer from the roof down to foundation. But before we trace the load part, we need to know the type of loads that exist in the structure. The first type of load is called the dead load, which is the self-weight of the elements present in this structure. So you have the self-weight of the pillars, the self-weight of the rafters, the self-weight of the beams, the self-weight of the slabs, the self-weight of the footing. These are called dead loads in a structure. The next type of load we want to look at is the light load. Light load are variable loads. These are loads such as people in the building. We have furnitures, things that will come and go in a structure. Next type of load is the environmental needs, which are loads caused by wind, or by earthquake, these are all loads that are applied by the environment on the structure. So they are called environmental loads. And equally, things like snow on the roof. Now, let's see how loads are being transferred in a structure. The loads of the roof are being transferred directly to the columns, which moves down to the foundation. In other structures, the loads of the roof are being transferred to the trailing beam, which is here, which there is transferred to the columns and moves vertically down to the foundation. Now, let's consider the floor loads. In the floor loads, we have that load of the floor, which is the occupants, the furnitures, and the dead load of the floor, which is the self-weight of the floor itself. The dead load combined with the live load are going to be transferred from the slab, which is this dotted lines, to the beam, which is this thick line below. So the beam is going to carry the live load and the dead load combined of the slab into these beams. And now, the beam is going to add together its self-weight to that of the slab and the beam, and then descend to the pillars, which will move down this way, down to the foundation. Each floor transfers its own load to the column beneath it, which transfers it directly down to the foundation. So for this floor, the self-weight and the light load of this slab is being transferred to the beam beneath the slab, which is then sent directly down to the foundations. Columns carry the loads of the structure and send down to the foundation. So the columns in turn carry the load of the beam, the slab, and of the roof down to the foundation. But how are they transferred is very key to structural engineering, because the columns give the load directly to the foundation, and if an error is made, the building collapses. The load on the checking beam is being sent to the column called P1. And now, this load is sent directly down to the foundation. Let's name this column P3 and this P2. So this load P1 is sent to the column P2, which is then sent to the column P3, and finally to the foundation. The load of the slab, which is transferred to the B, is then sent to the column P2. The load of the slab and the beamware are then sent to the column P3. The load of column P1 is the load of the roof plus the load of the chaining beam plus the self-weight of column P1. The load of column P2 is the load of column P1 plus the load that is being transferred by this component here to column P2. So the load of column P3 is the load of column P1 plus the load of column P2 plus the load that has been transferred from the floor of column P3 to P3, which is down at the foundation. Now, the load of the entire structure transfers through the column down to the foundation, which is this. The foundation takes this load and distributes it to the soil beneath, which is this. And now, will the soil beneath be able to bear that structure? We are going to find out in the next video.